Hello everyone, Ross the music teacher here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind being an artist, as well as, was I kind of wrong about music theory? No, but I do have some alternative views that I've come to adopt that I'd like to share with you, and maybe a small little apology for some of you, because I've definitely been pretty vocal in terms of being a music theory proponent, and maybe even just a little too much. So I'd like to start off with that, and then we're going to move into why it's important to be vulnerable as an artist and kind of some strategies on just how to accept it and how to use it to your benefit. So let's start off with music theory, because as most of you are probably aware, I wrote music theory in one lesson. In all of my guitar lessons, I always tell people they need to learn music theory. And I still think that everybody should learn music theory. But I do want to issue a little bit of an apology, because there are people out there that just don't want to, and they're still musicians. In my past, I did not consider them musicians. I always considered them as people who play music, but not musicians, because musicians should know how it works. And I think I'm going to go ahead and walk that back a little bit, because it doesn't feel entirely respectful of others' choices. And it's also not true. There's some really great musicians that have just gotten very good and they didn't learn music theory. Now, with that being said, I still think if you're interested in it, you should learn it. I do think no matter who you are, it's going to help. Even the masters that didn't learn it, that are, very, very good. Something tells me they had some sort of instruction with it. But let's just say they probably would have been even better if they had learned it. Or maybe, I don't know. But I do want to encourage all of my students still to learn music theory, because as it so happens, for us mere mortals, it actually makes things easier. Now, how did I come across this conclusion? Well, a couple things. One, I've kind of diverted my musical interests and careers, and I've kind of moved myself more into the direction of being a composer rather than a guitarist, because I've just kind of grown tired of the classical guitar, and other styles of guitar fall into two categories for me. One, I'm either just not interested in it, or two, I'm already good enough to play it. So I've kind of not really played my guitar lately. So but I love music, and I want to keep doing it. So I've been composing orchestral music and creating the music on my computer using sound libraries. And as it so happens, I'm not an expert at this, so I did what I think everybody should do, which is I hired a teacher. Now, one of the big things that I wanted to get out of my lessons with this teacher, whose name is Tony Manfredonia, you guys can check him out below. He's a really great guy. Anybody interested in doing orchestral music, I 100%, go with him. He's got good prices for his lessons. He's very, very, responsive, and he's just a great guy. But, I asked him about his process, and he was kind of showing me some of it. And I asked, how did you get those chords? Where did those come from? And he said, I don't know. I just kind of felt like using them. I thought, well, I never do that. I plan out all my chords ahead of time. I write my melody to fit those chords. Maybe I'll try to write a piece where I literally do not worry about anything, and I just make things happen as I see them, and I try not to think about it too hard. And that happens to be the last piece that I posted on this channel. If you want to check out my music composition channel, that's also linked below. I would love if you listened to my orchestral music. No worries if not, but really love that. And it was one of the better pieces I think I've ever done. I liked it quite a lot, and I did not worry about anything other than touching the piano keys with some sounds and just finding something that sounded cool to me. So it definitely opened my eyes up a bit. As well as, I've been working with students for a long time, and I've just kind of come to realize that even students that are not interested in learning their music theory, they can still get pretty proficient on their instrument. And some people can get just very, very good because I think they might have been born something that I wasn't born with. I needed music theory to learn it, but that might not be your experience, and there's no shame in that game. So sorry to anybody that feels that I've come too strongly on the music theory question. That leads me to my next topic, and that's the importance of being vulnerable as a musician or an artist, and the importance of sharing what you're doing with others and not just keeping it all bundled in, as well as the importance of with that vulnerability, realizing that not everybody's going to like what you do, and that's also okay. So if you show your work to somebody and they don't love it, that's also okay. I know I've posted a couple of my orchestral things on my channel here. Those are always a net loss for me. I never gain subscribers from those videos. In fact, I always lose 15 or 20, which is fine. But that is, it doesn't feel great when it's like, oh, I wish people would be subscribing because, boy, isn't my music just so great. But what it really comes down to is there are a lot of people that listen to it that actually like it too. And not everybody's just going to have that taste. And when you put your art out, you have to realize that you're just putting part of yourself out. And as a person, you don't like everybody else's everything about them, and you don't like everybody else's art. So other people, you have to allow them to either dislike your art or like it, and just be thankful that they took a little bit of time to experience it. And if you, I think, approach it with that attitude, then you're going to just be happier at the end of the day, and you'll end up sharing yourself more, because it's really easy to keep things boxed up because you just don't think people are going to like it. And I did that for a very long time because, quite frankly, my musical training is as a classical guitarist, and the vast majority of people on the planet do not like classical guitar, and it's okay that they don't. Most of them think that classical guitar means classic rock. And then you show them what classical guitar is, and it's like, oh, that'd be nice to listen to in an elevator or something. And that's okay. It just doesn't catch their attention. But that really, stuck with me as an artist, and I'm just kind of breaking out of that. So by all means, you can check out my art as I'm sharing it. Down in the links below, I've put my composition channel down there. I'll probably post one of those videos to this channel every once in a while. But next, I'm going to be exploring the modes a little bit and making some videos to help you guys understand those a little bit more. And I'll also be probably posting some videos on the processes that I'm learning about, with composing music and through studying scores from composers that I like. So stay tuned for that stuff. But today, it was really important to address these couple things. So thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to check out my music theory book, because you still should learn music theory, on Amazon, Music Theory in One Lesson. My affiliate link is below. Happy practice, and I'll see y'all soon.